So, what is our sewer water?
This year, I think it's October 18th.
We are on the phone talk. That's the question with the service. For a limited one. It should be all the energy like that. But it's
You know, we used to announce it. I'm sure we did.
and we, you know, we always sort of announce it before the meeting, but service. Well, you know,
Oh, remind me. Work.
Zoom in before.
Yeah, it's really, okay.
Is that okay?
You're good to go.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. We're starting the Monday, October 4th, 2021 Town Council meeting. This is occurring in person, and if you want to see any of the supporting documents, please go to Clerkbase. Andre Boudreau, First Warden, is not here today, so he will be back tomorrow, and we'll run the meeting without him. First topic on the agenda is public comment. I will, as part of the public, just say that once there was a phenomenal celebration of life for Steve Draper today, and also I think the island is right now very deeply mourning the passing of Peter Greenman, an incredible longtime friend. Just leave it at that. Any other public comment? Hearing none, seeing none. We'll go on to the second item on the agenda, and that's a report from Dr. Warkup, Medical Center Director, regarding COVID-19 and public health, and to discuss and act on emergency town orders to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of and visitors to the town, which are imminently imperiled by the unforeseen circumstances of a large spike in the increase of COVID-19 cases in the town, as reported by the Block Island Medical Center. Dr. Warkup, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? Here.
Dr. Warkup, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, we got you now.
Excellent.
And
So thank you and good evening.
well, before you start, Dr. Warkup, we would like to say thank you to your wife for allowing you to join our meeting, given that it's your anniversary. So we'll make this short and sweet.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. The medical center also wants to send our condolences to the Greenman family. It was definitely a great loss, and to the Draper family for the celebration today. Some data for us to consider is some good news and some news that we wish was a bit better. Overall, the new cases in Rhode Island are continuing to improve. We're down now to 182 per 100,000, which is down 20 cases compared to the last time we gave a report. And probably more excitingly is the 7-day percent positive. In August, we were up to 3.5%. September down to 2.2, and as of today, only 2%. So we're seeing a good reduction in overall positivity rates. That's also reflecting in the new cases. Our breakthrough cases have gone up a little bit from 0.5% to really 1% now overall. But the good news is, with the continuing theme of vaccinations are our best weapon, the breakthrough hospitalizations are only 3.5% of everyone who's ever been hospitalized in Rhode Island, and breakthrough deaths are only 2%. So if you're fully vaccinated, you have significant protection overall against coronavirus. I put an article, I'm going to post it on our social media pages, but there's an article by Dr. Spellberg on antibodies, immunity, and COVID in the April Journal of American Medical Association that has a very nice editorial that goes on to give a little bit of reflection a year later that similar to what happened with the H1N1 as well as the 1918 flu, that we're getting a lot of communication about antibody testing and titers. That I'm going to read something to you, that the decline over time of the antibodies to coronavirus is not alarming, nor is it unexpected. The waning of the antibody titers is normal and does not necessarily indicate the loss of any protection long-term for the community. This is an area that more and more is being written about, that even though titers are starting to fall, the way our bodies produce immunity is that they go into these other parameters of kind of, they call them T cells. So you hear people asking about titer measurements. There's not a direct relationship to your overall immunity. And like what we learned from H1N1, there's a far more protective value that we have after you get vaccines or you've had the active virus than we probably give it credit for. So get vaccinated is your best weapon. And a bit of a talk on that front about the boosters. This came from the Department of Health. They wanted to let us know that the Pfizer vaccine will be on island this week to catch up on everybody's second dosages if needed, as well as boosters for anybody that's been 6 months past their second dose. They have sent an email out to every single person that's been registered in the Rhode Island immunization database that received Pfizer. So anybody that received Pfizer had been given an email. As soon as Moderna and J&J get authorized for booster doses, we'll get that information out to the community. So right now, booster doses are available for Pfizer, soon to be for Moderna and J&J. But this is an area, unlike my previous stance on the first and second dosages. Go to that article that I'm going to post, read it, consider it, and the scenario of if you are immunocompromised and you're not somebody that's in a poor state of health, you may want to hold off on the booster until we get a little bit more data on its functionality and its protectiveness, and allowing a little bit more of a potential Delta variant specific booster to be developed. The children's update is that the FDA should be receiving documents from Pfizer over the next several weeks. They certainly indicated that prior to Halloween, that data will be submitted and be considered for children 5 and older to get vaccinations. When we talk about the Delta variants, I put also in my document out that it'll be available to everybody, is the sample period from the Rhode Island Department of Health has 5,100 samples that they've taken. 1,400 of those samples continue to have the Alpha variant, which is the dominant strain in Rhode Island. That hasn't changed. The Delta variant has begun to rise. We were formerly at 418 of those samples, and now it's up to 1,000 in that sample group. So we're definitely seeing a rise, a little bit of a rise in the breakthrough cases, but still those breakthrough cases developing into hospitalizations and or ultimately death is extremely, extremely rare. Block Island's overall total rate of COVID-19 per 100,000 it's creeping up. It was 9,600. It's now 11,000 per 100,000. And I always like to give you a standard against which we can look at ourselves. Narragansett was previously 11,000. They're at 12,000. So that appears to be fairly stable in the community overall. So Delta variant is growing in the state. The Moderna, Pfizer, J&J vaccines are still doing very well against that. The positivity rate is going down, and I think that's terrific. Any particular questions?
Thank you so much, Dr. Mark? Keith? Martha?
Yeah.
I think the only question I would have, which I don't know that we want to address tonight, is how we as a council want to think about masks down the road. Right now, there's a mandate for masks indoors. And at some point, I think we may want to visit the idea of just, hey, as there are less and less people on the island, to Dr. Warkup's comment, more as a percentage, high vaccination rates. Is this a matter of when there are populations that, when population starts to bloom, like in the summer or at holidays? I don't know. But I think at some point we should probably have a discussion as to how we approach that. And I don't have the answer right now, but.
You just remember okay, we still have Columbus Day weekend to get through. And remember that last year we had, and I think I've got this right, we had as many cases in November of 2020 as we had had from the beginning of the pandemic. Is Dr. Walkoff still there?
I'm here.
Is that about right?
That is right. But I do want us to preface that with, we had very specific clumps of family outbreaks at that time.
Yeah.
We didn't see a lot of individual outbreaks. It was more clusters within family units.
And so now we're not seeing that because of people being
Vaccinations and, overall immunity.
good. So we do not anticipate a repeat of that. That's good.
Yeah, and I do think it's reasonable to Councilman Rysom's point that with our community contracting and our high penetrance of vaccinations within the community, it's a reasonable conversation to have. Rhode Island's at 18 and over, we're at 80% fully vaccinated. And we only need about 120,000 people to be vaccinated in the state, and the entire state will be fully vaccinated. So I do think in smaller pockets of community, what kind of micro cultures, there is room for that conversation, and it would be very valid and literature based.
Dr. Warkup, my question is about the potential for a booster / flu shot, a combo shot. Is that in the near future? Or if it's not, I just want to let everyone know that they should be getting their flu shots before the upcoming winter.
That's great. Right now, there's nothing on the horizon about a combination shot. We might see something like that in 2022. If everybody remembers when we had H1N1, they started putting it in our regular flu shots for several years to keep it a high penetrance within the community. So right now, please get your individual coronavirus vaccinations, and your flu shot is separate. We have ordered our flu vaccine. We should have it soon, and we'll be getting word out to the community about our flu vaccine clinics.
Keith, Mark, anything else?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Warkop. Enjoy your anniversary.
Have a great night. Thanks.
Thanks. All righty. Anything else from anybody on that? Okay. Item number 3 is to receive and act on a request to transfer taxi license from Mo Dulac to Judy Dulac. I believe 2 people will recuse on that. Correct. Is that correct? Assuming that's the case, that means we don't have a quorum, and my recommendation would be to roll that over to tomorrow night, October 5th. It's not on the agenda, but Molly, if we roll it over, we can have it first item on the agenda tomorrow, just to get it over.
I'll repost the agenda.
Okay, and that's appropriate.
We need to continue it.
Oh, sorry, continue. I said roll over. I meant continue it. Thank you. Okay, so we'll continue that to tomorrow night. And I personally wish Judy the best. Okay, item number 4, receive and act on change order procedures for island-wide broadband project. Marianne, do you want to pick up, or Amy, or?
Yeah, I'll run with it. At this point, Amy can jump in if she would like to. If you remember at the last council meeting, when there was a change order before the council with the broadband project, Councilman Stover brought up the fact, is there some way we can facilitate this and not have them all come before you? So I provided a very brief memo as to how I think we can facilitate that. And I've used something similar to this in other major construction projects. And basically, any change orders less than $25,000 would be approved by the administrative team. The administrative team, if it's a Zertex change order, would be obviously Mission Broadband was our project manager, myself and Amy Land. If it's a Zertex, if it's a Mission Broadband, then the administrative team would be myself and Amy. And if the aggregate of the purchase change orders exceed $100,000, then we'll come back and revisit that with you folks and bring the additional purchase orders to the council. And then we may have a continued discussion based on what's going on. We just want to remind the council, and it's included in the memo, that the Zertec, right now, it's basically Zertec and Mission Broadband that we're working with. In the future, we will be working with other consultants and contractors. So we just want to be clear, what we implement here as an internal policy, we would like to also have that carry on, not just for the two contracts we currently have in place, but all future contracts that we may have in place as we finalize the broadband project, which will be taking place over the next 12 to 18 months. So that's what we're looking to do in that regard.
I just have a question, Marion. First of all, thank you for working on this. The way I read this, it says that when the aggregate change orders get to $100,000, you're going to bring every change order to us. And I don't think that's not what I want, because I'm assuming in an $8 million project, the likelihood of $100,000 worth of change orders is quite high. Not because anybody's messing up, but because, as we've discussed, the technology is literally changing under our feet as you know, as we're going. Conditions arise, etc. I mean, I would like a report at 100,000. You know what I mean? But I don't think that reaching the $100,000 milestone would require us to go back to approving every change order.
I'd be happy to do that. I mean, I took a more conservative approach on it, but that feedback's great and we'll be happy to do that.
Well, this is where I am. I'm just.
Yeah. One question, I mean, obviously, we're talking big projects here and to the large numbers. Is there any reason to add in a % of change orders or something like that? And again, I'm thinking other projects down the road. So I don't care whether it's a school or it's, I don't know, something. And to say, look, it's either X dollars or 25% of the project. I'm just trying to think of some way to scale it for quote unquote smaller project, but still we don't want to have to delay moving forward for the council reviewing it. Is that?
So this is what I would suggest. This is the first time that we as a community is approaching doing something like this.
Right.
Let's see how.
Walk for.
Yeah. And then I think then, you know, we have a purchasing policy and everything else. Then we can maybe have a formal policy that the council can adopt as to how we think we want to proceed with that. So, and I think that's an excellent idea. And
Down the road, sure.
I've seen it done both ways.
Yep.
And so I think what we need to do is see how this goes, see how it works, and then go from there.
Great.
I'd be really I would really be open to coming up with a policy procedure as it relates going forward, because we do have some potential for significant construction projects not too far down the road.
So right now, this request is only about Island Broadband project, not anything else.
Correct.
And so that's the trial case, right? Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, can I safely say to the taxpayers that we're pursuing every penny we can find, either with these American Relief Plan dollars or potential infrastructure dollars for this particular project, just so they know that we are trying our best.
We're pursuing every penny that we can find, given the time it takes to pursue all those pennies. So some of them we chase a little while down the road and realize the cost benefit isn't there, but we are following every lead that we can and working hard at it.
Super.
I have a question that doesn't about broadband that doesn't involve this. If that's as long as we have Amy.
Just word it in that phrase, yes.
So we were talking about this last time, but I think it bears ongoing repetition. Because this is a gigantic project for us. And I actually don't worry about the construction. I worry about how we're ramping up during construction to be operational in a seamless way. And it just strikes me that we have governance issues that we have to square away. We have affordability and rate setting stuff that we have to figure out if not a process for, then making the community aware of how those prices are going to be set, and how, if we decide we're going to subsidize, low income families, for example, which is very common in, the utility regulation world. Are we going to have staff for this? And what do we need to do while the construction's going on to make sure that a person or persons who might be sort of the broadband people for the town are well aware of how everything works and what kind of customer experience we're going to be providing to people. It just seems that, we can talk about 12 months, but that's actually a relatively short landing strip, I think, given the size and scope of this project. And I would really like to hear from you, from Mary Ann, from the Broadband Committee, sort of how you envision the post-construction world on this. You're also, you and Mary Ann both have day jobs, by the way. So like, how do we have to staff this? And there is, when people start paying for this service, there is going to be money, presumably, to, for staffing infrastructure. And I'd be willing to, figure that out now so that we can get someone on or someone's on. I have no idea what that looks like, who are going to be our people on this. So.
Yes.
Yes is an answer. Yes to all of the
Yeah.
Excuse me. Do I need to turn this on? It's on.
Yes, those are all high on the list of things that we are working on and need to be working on more aggressively, and including defining who we includes. So I think one of the things that was discussed the last time the council had a broadband item in front of you was putting together a work session. I don't know if we put a date on that yet, but November, December, presumably, where we can talk about some of those things, probably at the council level in terms of policies and things that need to be coming forward, and also with the broadband committee, who have been working on this over the years and have a sense of what that, particularly that customer experience and that
Right.
end user island feel, what they've been looking for out of this network. So I think all of those things are accelerating in terms of the time frame that we need to be addressing them in. Because yes, operation is coming quickly, and that's great, and we need to be ready.
Great.
And we're a little behind the game on that, including, you use governance a lot, but also utility standards.
Right.
Um,
I can, that's.
we have people continuing to build, and they're very willing and eager to know what the standards are as they are moving ahead in their projects, and we owe them that. So.
Do you know, maybe the committee has this when the committee was envisioning how this would operate, but if you have any good white papers around the utility standard thing, I would love to read them. have some experience doing some of this stuff, but I don't know what that's gonna look like. And I think at some point soon, people are gonna wanna know, and we're gonna wanna be staffed for this.
Great.
Thank you.
I do. I'll share some.
Thanks.
If I can follow up, Mary Ann was going to put that calendar, sort of what's going on each month in the work sessions and the topics, and maybe we can slot in a couple broadband, even if it's going out a bit as placeholders, just so we start to think about those topics. That will let us be more prepared and more responsive, because the broadband committee knows so much of what they're talking about. We need to catch up a little bit so we can have a good discussion. That'd be great. Okay. I make a motion to approve the change order procedure for island-wide broadband project. Change order procedure for island-wide broadband project.
With the modification.
With the modification as stated.
Second.
Mark?
Discussion?
Oh, discussion? Anybody? Sorry. Any discussion? Martha?
Aye.
Mark? Aye. Keith? Yes. I vote yes. Yeah, that's a unanimous decision to approve the change order procedures.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Fifth item on the agenda is to review and act on management agreement. Thank you, Martha. That's funny. Review and act on management agreement between the town of New Shoreham, the New Shoreham Sewer District, and the New Shoreham Water District in preparation for the October 18th, 2021 annual town council / sewer commission / water commission meeting. So we have the management agreement between the town of New Shoreham Sewer and Water Districts. I assume this is, I know it's on clerk base. For anybody with questions, Mark or anybody want to start? Keith?
I'd be happy to start. I should preface this by saying this is new to me. So I don't want to burden us with questions about the agreement tonight. But I do have a lot of sort of governance questions, and where the intersection is between the sort of compelling town policy interest and the Water and Sewer Commission interest in running. And one of the things that brought this to mind for me was, Stephen, you may have written it, but an article on the Block Island Times where they're talking about allocations and extra storage. And to me, a lot of that is fundamentally planning, town planning. I want to make sure that we're appropriately represented and engaged when it comes to those questions. I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that water and access to water will be an issue for the rest of our lives, and it's very much communities, I think, are compelled to plan around access to fresh water, and I want to make sure that those things are kept in mind, not just how are we going to serve clients, but how are we going to serve our aquifer, and how are we going to maintain high quality access to water in town. So I guess that would probably be, a work session type of it's not like I'm going to, it doesn't have anything to do with my vote on this, but I just think there is an overarching planning and operations conversation that we need to have.
And it's my understanding that they're doing an upgrade of the water study.
That is ongoing right now, yes.
This is the water study that was at the, I can't remember the name of it, it was too long. The Water Resources Board back in, the 80s, I think, did a hydrological study that they're having updated. That is really the baseline you have to have before you can even start these conversations.
Great. It just strikes me that there is at the very least some gray area between our compelling interest as a town, government, and island-wide, and what the interests of or the goals and objectives of the commissions might be, and we need to figure that out.
And if I can, I think this ties into the infrastructure committee that I know staff has sort of pulled together, because obviously not only, to Martha's point, does this tie into the aquifer and water supply, but also then how many wells and how many bigger storage tanks and new storage tanks. And I mean, so it's an asset piece as well as an environmental or anyway, water access piece.
Hydrogeological.
Thank you. And so I think there's multiple things to get together. I sort of am with Keith a little bit as to right now, I feel at times that water and sewer on their own, in their own world, and that focus is probably good. But at the same point, how do we make sure it's integrated and sort of part of it?
Well, I think that it's probably well overdue that we have a review of how all of this happened, because it all happened before the charter. And how it has the charter, have the sewer commission, the sewer district, the water board, the water district, all been properly interfaced with the charter. And I think this is what we have, but I think it is something that's really worth looking into a little bit further.
So at the next step, because it seems to me that, right now we're preparing for this meeting on the 18th. It would seem to me that what Martha just said, a little bit of the history, how do we get here? Where are there sort of overlaps? I mean, right now it seems like there's a number of plates that are sliding on top of each other. That would probably be a really good thing for the beginning of that meeting. And for some, it'll be informative like me, and for others, it may be a reminder. But we probably have to go backwards a little bit and get that.
Well, the only reason I even mention history is that it's important to know that where we are today is not where we were when these things were put in place. And there's a big divide in between, and a lot of people have worked really hard on these things and over the years. And I still feel like there isn't it's not meshing, and it's sort of like they're over there and they're up there, and
Right. It's not very cohesive.
Mark, anything?
No, I guess I want to just bring us back to what the agenda item speaks of. And that's whether we want to approve this new management agreement. The only thing I see different on it is the elimination of Director of Public Works and the insertion of Town Manager in its place. So are we all comfortable with doing that tonight? And maybe you can just, in a sentence or two, explain why we're eliminating the Public Works and replacing it with Town Manager.
So there's also missing here is the fees, which is $40,000. And I just realized that, but I guess this is going to be discussed also with the water and sewer folks on the 18th. But to get to the question asked by Mark, originally up until the charter change, the DPW and town manager were on the same, and now they're two different folks.
excuse me, do I have the right document?
There are two stapled together.
Right, but the 40,000 is in my doc,
It's in both of mine too, unless I have the same.
There was an updated document that was put up on board docs.
Might be in your box.
This is from my box.
I'm sorry.
Mark, what are you referencing? What page, what number?
Oh, it says draft FY 2021.
I just picked up what was in my box. Yeah, no, this afternoon I came
I
and got
picked
it.
up this afternoon, what's this new? Thank you, Mark.
Did you mail it? Did you email it?
Thank you for asking, because I was sitting here, because I didn't see.
I didn't see it either. And I read it. And
Let's give this to Mark.
You have this right here.
You have the draft one?
Oh, please.
I picked up my documents this morning.
Was it in there?
No.
No, it wasn't either. I picked up mine at 10, anyway.
I do think that Molly sent out an email this afternoon.
I was just gonna say, that's what I'm looking at.
That's
Oh.
not-
I didn't get it. My Facebook and my Instagram access is totally shut down.
Which doesn't have anything to do with the email. Get a good try. so.
Yeah,
Excellent.
2:51,
She got more.
at 3 o'clock, he sent the new updated document.
This is somebody else's, this is.
Mark's, you,
Is this a change you
Well,
suggest
it doesn't, it
to town
It doesn't
manager?
matter.
written on it.
Yes, that's one that has that. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You, of course, endorse this change from DPW. to
Yes,
town,
I do.
And you feel it gives you the ability to engage, it's essentially.
Mary, I don't see numbers on this draft. Should we, can we put them in?
Record 40,000.
40 and 40?
40 for each.
Okay, so now that we got past the confusion of who's got what draft, what was the answer to Mark's question? I'm sorry, I was too busy trying to find my paper.
So the reason, keep in mind with the charter, you had both town manager and DPW as the one person, with the extrapolation of that and making it two different people. It affects the, two different positions, I'm sorry, it affects this management agreement. And with this management agreement, what Keith just asked me if I'm okay with this change, and I said yes, that at this point, it will be the town manager as opposed to the DPW director.
I'm pausing because don't you have enough things on your plate? Wouldn't this be good to put on the menu of the new Public Works Director?
When we had this discussion with the sewer and water folks, when they had this on the agenda, what John had brought up was the superintendent of the sewer department, water department, which I have ongoing conversation, is a lot of my expertise and past experience as relates to water and sewer is with an island community that was in Jamestown. And some of the things that the water and sewer is starting to go through as it relates to some of the things with water allocation and things like that. I had experienced and went through similar situations in Jamestown. So when we were looking at this and talking about at the sewer and water, this is a one-year document. So a year from now or 2 years from now, we may look at this differently and change who that individual is.
So a lot of the discussion that we had a minute ago regarding this agreement and sort of how things have changed and from whence we've come, that's still in all this document. So it sort of continues that world. And so we want to, or the discussion is to approve this prior to the meeting with sewer and water, when in theory there won't be major change, but I mean, there'll be discussion about it, right?
I think the discussion that I'm hearing from the council, I think will take place in the coming months.
Good year.
If you look at this agreement and some of the stuff, it references a lot of state statute.
Yep.
Keep in mind, the water was a private company that was purchased. Sewer was through enabling legislation. How you go about making changes or do any changes, we have to look at all those governance items and proceed that way. So I'm comfortable with the council approving this evening and starting that dialogue with the water and sewer when you meet with them on the 18th.
Does it say in here, I'm missing it right now, that this is an annual agreement, or it seems that the last one was signed in 18?
If you look at the top, it states the fiscal year,
Thank you.
and I'm not sure.
I know, but it does, I mean, the last. You're right, the last one didn't do that. Does it state in here it's a one-year agreement? I apologize.
It didn't.
I don't believe it does.
I was reading the old one. Ugh.
Yeah, the old one, I don't think did either.
I'm very, personally, I'm fine with making the move to the town manager. We talked about that as we created Public Works, et cetera. But,
This says fiscal year, that means it's just for the fiscal year.
I'm sorry?
It states on the top fiscal year 2021 management agreement. I think it should say. Yeah, I think it should be. I don't know why it says fiscal. If you
Right
want
now
to
it
put it
says-
in there, you know, I'm
What?
not sure why this comes to you folks in October. It doesn't coincide with the fiscal year, it doesn't coincide with. the
Yeah,
calendar
anything.
year.
Oh, it coincides with the sewer meeting, which I've never, ever understood, ever.
Okay.
Which has got to be from water, right? Right.
Yeah.
So that's a great topic for the 18th, right?
Yeah.
Why the timing? How do we get back on some real timing or not real, excuse me, some more systemic timing? And I think as long as this is clear, and if anybody thinks we should have language more than there is now, that it's a one-year agreement, because I do think that in a year, to Mark's comment, that, you know, I would like to discuss whether it's Public Works, because it makes a lot of sense that it would be in theory. But let's see where that goes.
And water supply is one of the tasks of the DPW.
That's my point, right?
I mean, that was back, way back, I'm talking 20 years ago, when we were talking about, 20 years ago, when we were talking about buying a power company. The idea was utility was going to be the sewer, the water, the power company. Obviously, that never went anywhere. And that ship has sailed. But yeah, I'll prove it for a year. I won't approve it for any more than a year with this change. Because I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me.
They always been 1 year. They just come up.
No, but I don't understand. It's a changing, it's making it exclusive to the town manager, not the director of public works and or.
You can change that to and or if you would like. Originally,
Well,
we had that as and or. I mean, you can put that back in. I mean, that's what was proposed with the water commissioners, water and sewer commissioners.
If you're comfortable with that, I mean, I think I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So it'd be town manager and or DPW.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I know you said the last one was annual agreement. The one I have in front of me was signed in 18, so that means it's been 3 years. Now, maybe it's just been rolling.
It's adopted every year.
Got it. So it's just rolling or adopted.
You know, the document comes before you every single year.
No. It was signed in 2000. This is why I don't do things like I used to do. 2018, I thought that was 5 years ago.
So where, just to make sure from an edit point of view for everybody, where it right now says Director of Public Works, parentheses, and or town manager, that'll be written town manager and or Director of Public Works. Is that correct, Mark? You good?
Yep.
And
Okay.
40,000 we'll put in.
And the 40,000 in both slots for water, sewer, excuse me, and then water.
If we have things like this going forward, and I know there's only one draft here, but sometimes we end up with more than one. Can we get it time dated, printed right on it? So we're not doing, which is like my
Yes.
biggest horror is something that says final. And then it says final, and then it says final. You have 6 finals by the time you're done.
Well, there's questions. I'm not going to assume anything here. Does the Director of Public Works attend every water and sewer meeting?
I've been attending that.
Will our new Director of Public Works be attending all the water and sewer meetings?
I can have them attend them.
I think that would be beneficial. Is that asking too much?
And I think if we do either or, we have I presume that at the beginning, at least, the town manager would be remain the person only because you haven't shifted anything over yet. But I would certainly want both people attending for a while
Yeah.
As a handout.
as the season changes.
Mhm.
Okay, any other comments? Anybody in the public?
And I would also just say that I think there are a lot of financial and personnel items in this that probably do properly come under the town manager. But the actual factual running of it seems a little more a DPW.
Yep. Okay, hearing no more comments, I will propose a motion to approve what is written draft, but the FY 2021 management agreement between the town of New Shoreham and New Shoreham Sewer District and the New Shoreham Water District on a 1-year annual basis with the edits to the draft that everybody has. Where we were replacing Director of Public Works parentheses and or Town Manager in parentheses to read Town Manager and or DP Director of Public Works. And it's in paragraph 1, 2, 5, 5B, 5E, and 11, etc. Also to insert $40,000 for the fees for the sewer district on page 204, which is section 5E, and 40,000 in section 5E for the water district fees. Motion seconded, discussion. Hearing none. Mark, how do you go?
Aye.
Keith?
Yes.
Martha?
Aye.
Sven votes aye. Thank you very much, everybody. And that is unanimous with Andre not here. All righty, discuss and act on, item number 6, discuss and act on appointments to boards, committees, and commissions. The first one is the Sea Level Rise Committee, which has been long in coming, and I'm so excited about it. Because I had put my name in personally, I am going to recuse. Martha's going to run this section, and I'll come back in when we talk about Hodge. I'll get the form from you later, Molly.
Can we have, everybody's got this, the 13 names that came in? And did we find out if Jane Muskie was a resident?
She was just an offer to help. I don't think she volunteered for.
That's correct.
Is that,
Oh, okay.
That's what I understood from her.
So then she shouldn't be on this list. Okay, we're down to 12. And it's only 9?
9, yes.
I think the easiest thing to do is just each one of us take one of these, check 9 names, and tally it up.
What discussion can we pull?
Kim?
Before you get started, I was wondering why 9 seems like a large board to me. There's probably some reason there.
I think I actually argued for 9 over 7 because I feel like an important part of this process is going to be broadly socializing the potential solutions, and I felt like that outweighed whether there would be, the ease of having 7 versus 9.
I thought 9 was an unwieldy number, but I deferred.
Thank you.
I think I was outvoted, actually.
No.
Mark, do you have anything?
No, as I hand as I hand my picks to Martha, I'll just say, here's another example of, in this case, a dozen or a baker's dozen of wonderful, terrific, qualified people coming forward to do the right thing for the town they love. And thank you, all of them who submitted their letters of interest.
You know, Mark, I'm so glad you said that. I found it really encouraging that there were so many people who were willing to, in a world where we sort of struggle to find people who are willing to participate. This is sort of a real all-star group, every single one of the volunteers.
Do you want to take this, Molly? Can we just have a little moment of,
Can you help with Jeopardy?
I haven't watched that in years.
Oh my goodness, we're online.
I'm so confused. I turned on I didn't turn it on. I looked up the game results the football game results last night.
Yeah.
And I saw that the Patriots had won, and I thought, okay, that's good. And I thought, no, wait a minute, Brady's not with the Patriots anymore. Because I was only checking to see what had happened to the team Tom Brady was on.
I have to say, we've been hooked on Jeopardy because there's a guy on it now who has won something like 35 games in a row. Is this?
It's the same one.
Yeah.
It's the last time we were talking about it.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Show off.
Yeah. Well, the thing is he's a very self-effacing guy.
Nobody likes a show off.
Yeah.
Remember when Billy Glockley's brothers was on that?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had a friend who won three days in a row. I think it ended up being the down payment on his house.
Did you say Paul Marty Jr. was on it too?
That I did not know. So we just need the top 9. We don't need numbers.
Can you explain this process? You all submitted your top.
We've done this before. It's just, I just thought it was the easiest way to do it without getting into promoting it.
Or personalities.
Politicking personalities.
I'm not asking to do some, I'm just asking the explanation of what.
So
Yeah.
exactly. So we had whatever 13 names. We each put a check mark next to our 9.
Or however many we checked.
And however many, and then Molly is tallying them.
I mean, Amy's sitting here. I don't know why I didn't give him to Amy.
We put Amy on it. I put Amy on it.
I went to see her.
Once in a while, this happens. You get something people are committed to.
I'm gonna send it to everybody, but we're on this topic. I'll send it to you too, Kim. Nantucket is ahead, pretty well ahead of us. They have on their town website all of the work that they've been doing, and it's both. I mean, it's really well done, and it also, I have to say, was a great indication of how terrific a town website can be in terms of providing people with easy access to information about active stuff going on. It's, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, they're downtown. It's kind of like, their old downtown equivalent of, our parking lot.
Right.
And they had there's one guy who has a building down there. He just got tired of it being flooded. And it's an old building, but he reconfigured the first floor of it and put everything that could get damaged by water above the water line. So that was really interesting. Moved all the wiring up, he moved all, all of that sort of thing up, and that was in one of the papers that I picked up. Yeah, they have, it's an interesting paper to look at because they have a lot of good things. They have a lot of bad things happen down there too.
Right, it was.
Like us on a bigger scale.
Yeah, and their solutions aren't necessarily going to be our solutions, but I did like, there was a real strong emphasis, and it gets back to what I was saying about the 9 people. Very strong emphasis on very active communication in the community about what they were thinking about, which I think is important. I think it's easy, the challenges can be overwhelming enough that you sort of don't even really want to think about it.
Their housing board took a field trip to Martha's Vineyard to try to figure out how to solve their housing problem,
Oh, really?
which I don't think could give them many answers, but.
I think they also have an affordable housing trust fund that's parallel to their land trust. Don't they?
Nantucket, they tried to, it didn't work.
They didn't do it?
No, it didn't go. through.
Trying to get some 25% of that money to go into affordable
Oh, is
housing.
that what they're doing? Gotcha. Gotcha.
It wasn't working the last time I saw. But they're the ones that, after the planning board was talking about the subdivision on the west side that turned into, I think, a lovely little group of houses, over down by Coonamous.
Mhm.
I picked up the Nantucket paper the next day and they were having trouble because their country club wanted to build housing for its help and the neighbors objected. And I thought we had problems. Yeah.
The candidates who were voted in were George Davis, Kim Gaffett, Ty O'Neill, Saoirse Cohen, Judith Gray, Claire Cummings, Sven Reesum, Nigel Grindley, and Mary Anderson.
Do you have a list? Do you have that list?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, it's George, Kim, Ty, how do I pronounce his name? Ty?
Ty.
Saoirse, Judy Gray, Claire, Sven, Nigel, and Mary.
Got it.
So someone will make a motion to appoint those named to the Sea Level Rise Task Force.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Keith?
Yes.
Mark?
Aye.
Aye. So voted. Sven? Oh, yeah.
All righty, next, assuming that's done, I didn't, It's okay.
Please read the list again for Sven.
For George Davis, Kim Gaffett, Ty O'Neill, Saoirse Cohen, Judy Gray, Claire
Not Festival.
Diane Neal, and Mary Anderson.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you. Next on the agenda is Town Council Representative to the Hodge Management Group. You all should have a note in your packet. Mine's out just for everybody in the audience. There was a note from Heidi Tarbox to Molly, hi again. The Hodge Management Committee is due to meet sometime in October. We will be starting to organize this at our Block Island Land Trust meeting next week. If the council hasn't yet appointed or designated a representative for the committee, they should choose one councilor and an alternate. The current reps are Harold Hatfield from the Block Island Land Trust, Jim McCormick from the Block Island Conservancy, Chris Littlefield from the TNC, and Barbie Michelle, a non-voting public member. If my memory serves me right, and you can correct me on this, currently it's written that Ken is the town council representative
That's right.
and the alternate is me, right? So since Ken is no longer on the town council, we should appoint somebody.
Yes.
And this is basically, for everybody who doesn't know, this is well, Kim can tell us even better probably, but this is about Hodge management and just practices between mowing and trails and things of that nature. And I think they meet once a year or maybe twice a year. So we need a representative and we need a alternate. And I was the alternate in the past.
You live closest.
I do live closest and I love the land.
You go by it every day.
Twice. I'll try to be the representative if you want.
Plus, you got a lot of things on your plate.
Yes.
Mhm. I'm just wondering if 30 years ago, I was the one who proposed this property for a golf course. Does that prohibit me from being on this committee?
No, but if you say it one more time, maybe throw you out of the room.
Any property over 5 acres you didn't propose. You want to be the alternate?
So anyway, yeah, I'm a little short on responsibilities, so I would come forward if you want someone to do this.
Do you want to be the alternate or the representative?
Well, I guess the better question is, do you still want to be the representative with all the balls you have in the air?
This group functions so well that I think the most important thing is that we have representation and we're just a voice at the table. So I'm fine to do it. It meets so rarely, so it's up to you.
Then
That's the position you want.
Then I would be the alternate.
Okay.
If the rest of my colleagues approve.
Any other comments?
Sounds good to me.
Fine.
Okay, can you make the motion since it's about me?
Move that, I did find my agenda, of course I've lost it by now, that we appoint Sven Riesem as the representative to the Hodge Management Group and Mark Emanuel as the alternate.
Keith?
Second, sorry.
Mark, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Martha?
Aye.
Keith?
Vote yes.
Unanimous decision, and Molly, if you could let them know to notify me and Mark about their October meeting, we will be glad to be in attendance. Thank you. Last one, motor vehicles for hire, no volunteers when agenda was closed. It is amazing to me that we had 12 or 13 people for one, and this one seems to be struggling, so.
New is usually easier.
Yes, I know. Yeah, the first shot is always easier until the blood spills.
I have no update for you.
It'll stay on the list. Okay?
We did have a late breaking resignation that maybe saw in your email.
Yes, you want to announce it?
Sure, Jeff Wright has.
Oh, yeah.
come to you from the peer management group, so maybe you want to announce that and get it in the paper. Start following.
Who is on that list that we didn't appoint to Sea-Rise?
So there is going to be an opening at the next town council meeting on the Deer Task Force. which is just coming in, and we will add that to the list for looking for people to volunteer. Item number 7 on the agenda, award a bid for 2021 road improvement project, West Side Road to Carty Corporation for $449,449.40. Everybody should have that packet in, or the material in their packet. And it is on Clerk Base.
Okay, I've lost track. West Beach Road. Is this, where is this?
The dump road,
Well, yeah, I know that,
transfer station road.
but is it where on the, where? Is it the whole road or is
I
it
think he's gonna get the whole road. and he must go-
for this much?
Let me see, I don't have the specifications with me. I can confirm the exact footage if you would like. I can get that for you. But it's, I thought it was the whole road. I could be mistaken, but I can confirm that for you.
My own question is procedural. It listed as West Side Road on our agenda, and it's West Beach Road that we're talking about.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, no, I have this. It doesn't give the lineage footage. no.
We can continue till tomorrow night, since we're gonna meet tomorrow night. Oh, can we? No, we can't. 'Cause it's missed. Oh,
It's got to be re-agended.
please say.
Thank you, Mark, for catching that. I didn't notice that.
Well, I just presume Sven misread the agenda. Sorry.
Stab you. Did you pick up on that, Marion?
No, let me look at the agenda. I'm in the middle of the letter here.
Molly, your thoughts on whether we have to repost?
I didn't pick up on that, what was the.
So on the
West
agenda,
Side
it reads
Road.
West Side Road, Carty Corporation for 449,040. On everything else, it's West Beach Road. And Martha slammed me by misreading. When
Not for
was,
tomorrow, no. I know we would like to get this going.
I think we have to repost it though. We could have, how long does the posting need to be, Molly?
48 hours.
Thursday.
I mean, it can be a very quick meeting, I think, on, we could meet at noon, we could meet anytime anybody wants, but, the reason is, I'm just thinking if there are a number of people on West Beach Road that if they see this, they may have feedback. Maybe people on West Side Road just think it's road repair. Because, I mean, basically, this is about paving the dump road.
Right.
So, I mean, it's gonna be a radical shift. And Sean, and maybe we need to have specifications as to what it is. I mean, it's sort of, if I read, wait, so maybe Marianne, you could have, whether it's Carty on the phone, or
No,
not for
Jim.
Carty,
Jim.
Jim, thank you, that's what I meant.
Yep.
Because if it is the road and we are paving it, that is something that I think all of us, all of us want to be part of.
May I suggest that you put the taxi item on that meeting too? That way you'll get, the benefit of the 48-hour posting. It's best practice to do it that way.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Oh,
You can continue it, but it's really best practice to do the 48 hours.
so I agree with that, and I don't think it matters, well, I assume for Judy, it's not a big deal. Do we need to change that continuance from before? And agree on rolling it to the 48 hours, or what do you guys think? Doesn't matter to me. Okay. So,
Yeah, a quick motion to reconsider and then a quick motion to.
okay,
We didn't vote on it to continue.
no, we did not vote on it to continue.
Okay, then you're good.
So then, in 48 hours, which would put us to Thursday morning, anytime after Thursday.
Whenever it's convenient to you, I will not be here Thursday.
Millie or Keisha will be, Keith, any times you care about?
No.
Mark?
No.
Martha?
No, you just have to have time in the morning to get it posted.
Can we make it at 3:00 on Thursday? And that gives everybody some time to get work done in the morning. So 3:00, and the agenda for that meeting will have two items. One will be the receive and act on a request to transfer tax license from Modulac to Judy. And the second one will be the correction with West Beach. Yes, will be the Cardi Corporation that changed to West Beach. 3:00 on Thursday. Thank you, Mark, for seeing that, because that is a big deal. Okay. And Marianne, at that meeting, if you could have, maybe Jim can call in,
Yeah, I can also get.
or you can just write us a note. I mean,
I'll ask him.
thank you. Okay. Now, item number 8, do we need to do anything on that, other than that, Molly? That was item number 7.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, I was number 8, so that's John here.
Okay, we have a letter from John Spear, which hopefully you've all seen, or we have an email from John Spear. Yeah, a couple of versions of, the latest one at least. I guess appropriately we receive it. Trying to cut to the chase here, John is commenting about how the boat schedule, the ferry schedule, really puts a crimp in anybody trying to come over to the island in the morning and then return that evening back on the mainland. So for contractors or somebody coming to the island leaving. And my hope would be, at least I'll just start the conversation, even though we're not discussing. My hope would be that we can set up a meeting with Interstate when do we usually do that? January?
No. Before that.
November?
And it's always in time for them to say what they can't do they can't tell us what the boat schedule is, it's not printed yet, and then the next thing you know, it's printed, it's too late, it's printed. I always thought it was supposed to be November, then it ended up being who knows when.
Can we try and shoot for that meeting in November? And this is sort of the annual meeting. My hope would be both the Ranowski families can join us, which they have in the past. And I think this would be just a great letter to bring into that meeting as a discussion around schedules.
Yeah, I would also point out that we've had a lot of people, particularly older folks during the pandemic, who are really struggling with car reservations.
Yeah, what's going on with car
I
reservations?
don't know. I mean, I was going to ask, so I know that we do this kind of regular meeting with Interstate, but I really would like to have a conversation around how we engage with them and how we get traction on a range of things. I mean, I think, now, don't get me wrong, I mean, I think, you know, particularly during the pandemic, you know, I thought they were, they're obviously vital. But I do think we have issues, even just around, you know, I'm always reminded of a conversation that I believe the police chief brought to us, where he was trying to do planning for staffing in town. Reached out to the ferry and said, you know, it would be really helpful if you would let me know just by phone call, how many passengers are coming over on a particular boat? Because that would have an impact on how we deploy. And the answer was no. So, you know, to me, when we can't even get information to plan our public safety, we have a communications problem, and we have potentially a regulatory problem in my mind. It doesn't even get to, you know, our lack of ability, for example, to manage surges in ticket sales, crowding, traffic flows, et cetera. So I mean, I think it would be, John's email brought up all of these things to me. And I think we need to have a conversation about how we engage in a cooperative and constructive way with interested.
Well, I think that I think we're all in a better position this fall than we were last fall. This past summer was not the horror show. The year before was. I mean, there were a lot of people. The visibility of the policemen was really important at the landing. But I think it's really, I think most important thing with this meeting is to get everybody in the room and talk. And not just let them say yes and.
If I can, or Mark, do you have any comment? Okay, if I can, maybe what we should do, if we can get that meeting for November, maybe early November, in October, let's have an agenda item where we can discuss key topics that we could then send to them in advance and say, hey, here's the 5 topics we'd love to at least discuss in addition to the weather. And if we can do that in October, it'll help them be prepared and it'll set the table. So Marianne and Molly, can you help with that timing, if that makes sense? And I don't think that October meeting is going to be more than a quick, everybody comes with a couple of ideas of what's important to them. Because the one that John brings up is actually a pretty big topic of, wow, you're suddenly talking about a commuting workforce that we've all sort of tried to stiff arm a little bit. And I think it, as John told me, it's a reality, and let's try and make it work.
So you want to put on the agenda for the 20th of October?
No, the agenda is discuss topics. Yeah, but it should be a 5-minute. Discuss topics to send to Interstate for the November meeting.
And do you want to put also on the agenda, set a date for it, or do you want to try to get that done?
I'd like to set that date as soon as possible and have it at the, what is that, November, any time in November is convenient for them. And if our schedules don't work, I would propose that we will meet, we'll find a time that's convenient for everybody. Does the council agree with that?
Yeah,
I mean, just in case the 3 dates that we have currently. And I'm very open to having a midday meeting, so that they can come over on a morning boat and leave on a late boat. Oh, wait a minute, they don't exist. So anyway, midday meetings that will work for them.
Okay, in fairness, you can't have every vote that everybody wants.
I agree with
I mean, we have to preface that.
Absolutely.
And the boats come over early because it enables people here to go away for the day.
That's right. I mean, so it's either Islanders wanting to get off to go shopping, or is it workers coming on? And to your exact point, Martha, I think we're going to have to figure out what are our priorities, or what are the priorities of the council. John brought up something that nobody's ever really, well.
Norris talked about it all the time. The relative to 1 or 2 days a week, John, you know better. It's 3 days.
Anything else on correspondence?
No, it'll be a lot easier, I'm sure, working with Interstate than it was with RIAC.
Oh,
Next on.
That's like saying it's gonna be a short meeting.
I just threw this beer. Okay, number 9 on the agenda is notice to town as a butter zoning board of review meeting 9/29/2021 regarding the appeal of Formica, Delaney and Gill of building officials' decision to issue a building permit to Babcock Plat 8, Lot 215, Pilot Hill Road.
What is this?
Marianne, do you want to give us a quick update on why it's here? Or Molly, either one.
Sure. I put it on the agenda. It came in time for this agenda. It's noticed it down as a butter, the meeting's already been held.
So we really don't have, we don't have any position in action.
Exactly.
Okay.
What was it though?
It was, I think it's even been withdrawn. Is that correct? I think the, person who brought the appeal withdrew it. It was, the building official's decision was about, an addition to a house. The neighbors appealed it and believe the neighbors withdrew the appeal.
And the zoning board approved it. Is that right?
I do not.
They didn't
Oh.
have to.
Oh, they didn't have to? Okay.
No, it was the issuance of a permit, not a zoning decision. It only would become one if they press the appeal.
Okay. Any comments?
None.
Okay, number 10, receive and act on open session minutes, September 1st, 2021, September 13th, 2021 at 6 o'clock, September 13th, 2021 at 7 o'clock, September 24th, 2021, September 29th, 2021, and the correction to the minutes of September 18th, 2021. So these are the open session minutes.
I'm really messed up there. This was the one thing I thought I did have in order. What's the first date?
September 1,
Because I don't have it.
September 13th at 6 o'clock, and then September 13th at 7 o'clock. Any discussion on any of them, or can we approve as a lot?
Always but confidential.
Confidential, the closed session is the next,
That's the next session, okay.
Mark, do you have any
Something-
comments on these?
Wrong here.
That's the 6 o'clock one.
Was it the 10 o'clock?
No, I guess it's okay. Oh, isn't it here? Okay,
You good?
except the north parking lot is not the same size. I'm still talking about the parking lot, Kim. It's not the same size. But my map thing on my phone is so old that it has a picture of the beach before the parking lot was changed, and it's not, it's smaller. The north lot is smaller than it was before.
Any changes to the minutes?
I'm just making that statement because there's no other opportunity.
That's fine.
You want me to let that?
Can't change anything. I wasn't even at the meeting.
So,
One meeting I missed.
I'd make a motion to approve all of these minutes.
can someone second that?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. Mark,
Aye.
Keith,
Yes, sir.
Martha,
Aye.
Sven votes yes. And so all the open session meetings, thank you, Molly, have been approved. Item number 12, receive and act on closed session minutes. I'm only going to read part of this. Receive and act on closed session minutes, September 13th, 2021 at 6 o'clock, September 13th, 2021 at 9 o'clock, even though it says 10, on August 18th. These may be held in closed session if we need to edit. Are there edits to the closed session discussion? The closed session minutes, excuse me. Mark? Keith? have none.
I do have a couple of things.
Okay, should we do those in closed session, or is it possible to do them in open session? Just don't know the content.
I don't think we can do it in open session.
Okay, no, that's fine, is it? All righty. I'll make a motion, because of the minutes, so sorry, everybody, because the minutes are in closed session. If we're gonna discuss the minutes of the closed session, we gotta go into closed session. And this is the last agenda item. So I just want to let everybody know. Yep. Confidential close, that'd be 6, and this should actually say 9 PM. Okay, so we're gonna go into we'll vote. Receive and act on the closed session minutes, September 13, 2021 at 6 o'clock, September 13, 2021 at 10 o'clock, August 18th. Discussion of these minutes may be held in executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 4246-5A5. Any discussions or consideration related to the acquisition or lease of retail property for public purposes or the disposition of publicly held property wherein advances to public information would be detrimental to the interest of the public, and Rhode Island General Law 4246-5A7A matter related to the question of the investment of public funds where the premature disclosure would adversely affect public interest. Public funds shall include any investment plan or matter related thereto, including but not limited to state lottery plans for new promotions. I'll make a motion to go into closed session to review the minutes only. Seconded by Keith. Mark, how do you vote?
Aye.
Martha?
Aye.
Keith? Sven votes aye. We are unanimous going into closed session. Wish I could leave with all you guys. And
Thank you, Kim.
thank you.
Coming forward.
Mr. Hester, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. August 18th.
No, I to be honest with you, I couldn't quite figure out that was a typo. Okay, yes, if you could turn video off and, or whatever we have to turn off, Zoom. And
Because this is the only machine that's running this meeting.
should we leave and go to another room?
I can't close the meeting and we open it, so we should go. to the other room.
Okay.
I'll turn the sound up. And I think we should go to the other room.
Okay. And the others ask that question.
Does anyone have the August 18th?
I don't.
Yeah.
Please go.
To be in closed session, we're resuming the open session meeting. And item number 12 is to receive and act on closed session minutes of September 13th, 2021 at 6 o'clock and September 13th, 2021 at 9:30. Anybody want to make a motion to approve those minutes as drafted? As revised?
I will. I'm
Second,
Thank you. Martha, how do you vote?
Aye.
Keith?
yes.
Mark?
aye.
I vote in the affirmative as well. That's unanimous, 4-0. Mr. Boudreau is not here today and will be back tomorrow. And with that, I think that's the end of the meeting, unless Martha wants to have other thoughts.
Oh, I do have one question. It's totally unrelated to this meeting, but somebody asked me. I don't know the answer. I probably should. Do we know how much money the town is getting on the rescue plan for state allocation? Okay, good, because I did too, and I didn't know it was.
We want to thank everybody for attending and we just did the motion to end the meeting, right?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn second. Martha?
Aye.
Keith?
Yes.
Mark?
Aye.
Aye. And that's unanimous. Thank you all very, very, very much, and we appreciate it. There is a meeting tomorrow at 4:30 for the town council and the land trust, and anybody who wants to attend that, we would love to see you or hear from you as well. Thank you.
No, it's Tuesday.
Tomorrow, Tuesday at 4:30.
I actually start putting meetings in at night.
Thursday at 4:30. 3:00.
Well, and just double check that. I mean, we did say 3 o'clock,
I will double check both the Zoom license, the meeting room, and the attended. Because you want to just check.
by Zoom, by phone.
Yeah, that'll all just have the information.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's all.
I'd rather not.
We have to be. We don't need.
Whatever it is, you can get a picture.
Because we had talked about doing the far end. The beach and then.